Yeah, man, so for my final thoughts, most importantly, just learn something new every day. Be kind to each other. Be kind to each other. Lend a hand. And there's no greater investment. You know, there's no greater deeds you can do than, impacting someone. Impacting someone else's life, whether it be just a smile saying, "Hey, how you doing?" Or a real um, benevolent gesture, a true benevolent gesture, whether it be through gifts or whatever, knowledge, however. But most importantly, man, just don't be surprised in this war because this is something they've been doing from the beginning. Taking, world sciences and put it in their image, in their image. So it's like the white man really, took everybody's shit and recreated the world in his image, kind of on some God, in the Bible type shit. Just like I was telling you, he really took everything and put it in his image type shit, and it's really crazy. It's really, it's really something to see. Just like I said, the movie Lucy, all the way from the Holy Bible to that movie Gods and Kings, and so many other things, that we don't get credit for, you know. So, like I say, man, them just some of my final thoughts, man. Just don't be surprised in this war, and, you know, just understand, that these are the youngest group of people on the planet, man. Youngest group of people on the planet. So this basically means that we're receiving our degrees and our education, because in our history books they tell you, that they thought they could sail off the planet. So just a couple hundred years ago, white folk thought they could sail off the planet. Europeans thought they could sail off the planet. Just a couple hundred years ago. And now here we are getting all our degrees and education and everything from them. So, that's why we are at such a detrimental level. And you got to keep in mind how this country came into being. This country came into being off of genocide and war and slavery. Slavery is the most advanced form of war. So once you're honest with the beginnings and the origins of this country, then maybe we could begin to make some solutions to what's going on. But white people have to take total accountability for the condition of this nation, and they have to take accountability for the fact that they have imposed their mental illness and their mental insecurities, on the rest of the world, pretty much. That's exactly what has happened. So I just really hope that people, you know, really get to see that. People really get to understand that. Like I say, man, it's the youngest group of people on the planet, dog. So, and that's not to say that that white folks are, dumb or anything like that, because they're surely intelligent. I mean, there are great things that they have invented, from the internet to football, but nothing that they have come along with stands alone from the other cultures of the world. You know what I'm saying? Nothing that they've come with it stands alone from the other cultures of the world, from the English language all the way to, man, basketball. You know what I'm saying? You know, color always added flavor to it. We always brought the flavor, no matter what. So we all work together, and that's what it's about, man. But when we don't want to take accountability for our shortcomings, and when we don't want to take accountability, and we don't want to acknowledge our sins and our flaws and our flawed ways, then we're gonna end up dying. And that goes from the individual to a group of people to a nation. From the individual to the family to the nation. If we don't take accountability for our flaws, then you're gonna die. That's just like putting junk food in your body. You know what I'm saying? Like, America just represents junk food, because that's all it is. That's all that's going on. America just represents junk food. When you're not honest with all the things that, you know, you're taking into the system, you know, and the mental games that are being played, you know, and you don't realize that racism is inherently a part of the system, man. Just for you to say reverse racism, the term reverse racism lets you know that racism is a natural occurrence in America, because to put something in reverse is just like your car, man. You know, your car, to put your car in reverse, to go reverse means, you know, going in the opposite way of the natural direction, you know what I'm saying, of the driving force of the car, you know. So to say reverse racism actually means that racism is the natural driving force of the country. You know what I'm saying? For me to have to use reverse racism, man. So, man, you know, y'all just gotta think about these terms that we using, man. Just like I say, man, you know, simple things, man. Just like I said, degree. Just like a degree, how I mentioned earlier, man. Or pros and cons. Pros and cons. You know, to take simple things we know like pros and cons, you know. And so it makes sense that it's called the Constitution, an institution of cons. You know, it makes sense that it's called the Congress, you know, the progress for cons. You know, because that's all you got in this nation, the institution of cons, the progress for cons. And, you know, the good people just fall behind, you know, regardless of race. Because it's not about race. You know, you're not white, I'm not black. You know, truly, like I said, I didn't make those words, but we have to know that, because that's what Merriam and Webster put in there, you know. So we all have to know all of these terms, you know. But I'm not black, you're not white. I mean, truly, like I say, we didn't make this English language. Truth be told, it's, if I could put it scientifically, I'm more melanated. I'm more melanated and more genetically dominant individual, you know, and whites are more genetic recessive and have less pigment. You know, they're the least pigmented people on the planet. We could just say that, you know. But I'm not a black person. Me, I'm a colored person, you know, and I represent the majority of colored people around the planet. You know what I'm saying? Me and every person that they call black on the planet, actually, you know, we look like people that can be from anywhere. You know, African people, so-called African people, are a worldwide people. We're an international people. You know, there are African people that are in Australia. You know, there are those of us who are, you know, born right here in America. Those of us that were, you know, there are people that look like me. It could be in the Caribbean, the Dominican Republic, you know, Jamaica, South America, you know, Canada. You know, we're worldwide people, man. So, you know, we're not the minority, and that's the whole trick and the foolery. Like I say, that's the mental inferiority that they have placed on us, you know, to call us minorities, because we actually are the majority. Black people in America actually represent the majority of colored people on the planet, you know, and so-called white people actually represent the minority of genetic recessive people on the planet. You know what I'm saying? And that's the science to it, you know. And that's the main reason that they started playing word games and separating us by culture, you know, and tearing, because, you know, at the beginning, you remember, in the black struggle, they just said white and colored, you know. But as America became more free, they stopped saying white and colored, because they seen that everybody else was colored. You know what I'm saying? And you know, that's exactly what happened, man. You know, so that's why, you know, when you go fill out the application now, you know, white is just, you know, they'll just have a white box, but they don't have any distinction for the white races. And even though you have white people that have a problem, that so-called have a problem with you saying white, you know, but they like to make a distinction with their definite culture. You know, they still don't have a problem checking the white box. You know, they don't make a distinction when it comes to an application. But yet, when it comes to colored people, they have divided that all up in this, you know, the Asians, Dominican Republic, Hispanic, black, you know, and they divided that up because they already knew the word games that were being played, you know. And like I say, man, white people just ain't even used to hearing the term white people, dog. White people has become taboo. Racism is the most taboo word in this society. You know, if you say, you know, if you at your job and you say something about racism, everybody scuffs at it and everybody act like that shit ain't real, like, you know, and they just don't want to talk about it. And it's racism has become the new gay. Racism has moved in the closet. We brought gay out of the closet and we moved racism into the closet. So racism has become the new gay, and people react to you as the like with this with the gay energy as if you talking about gay when you talk about racism now. So they totally swap places, and it's just the backwardness, all to keep from taking accountability for their actions and what's going on, man. But like I say, man, most important for everybody to understand the Dred Scott decision, and that by law, you're not American. You're a person of African ancestry. The Dred Scott decision defines you as a person of African ancestry. America has this thing down to a science. So for those who are black here and they be like, man, I ain't from no motherfucking Africa. I don't know nothing about that shit. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never been no Africa. Yes, that is true. But America has it down to a science, and the Dred Scott decision says, a person of African ancestry. So that means you don't even have to be in Africa or born in Africa, baby. You understand me? That means you can be worldwide, just like I was just saying, a colored person. You are a person of African ancestry, which is Lucy, which is, the Christ, which is all this shit they be going, the Mummy and all these movies, everything. You understand? You are a person of African ancestry, and they got that to a science. So the Dred Scott decision says a person of African ancestry, whether free or slave, is not and can never be a citizen of the United States. Therefore, a black man has no rights that a white man is bound to respect. So therefore, Dred Scott could not sue his slave master, whose name was Sanford, and therefore that permitted slavery in all of the country's territories. So that's why I'm talking about the Trayvon Martin and how it was unique and significant in his own way, because Trayvon Martin was killed where? In Sanford, Florida. Dred Scott was trying to sue his slave master, whose name was what? Sanford, and he couldn't sue his slave master at the end. It permitted slavery everywhere else. So therefore, when Trayvon got killed and Zimmerman gets let off, Trayvon's parents couldn't sue Sanford, Florida for conspiring to kill their son. So it's the exact same parallel, and it's an update of the Dred Scott decision and everything around it. The Jordan Davis case and the Marissa Alexander case, that is exactly why they show America those cases coming out of Florida. Do you understand? Because this shit going all around. This shit going around all the nation. You know what I'm saying? And for them to show you these cases straight out of Florida, I graduated in Florida, man. You know what I'm saying? It's big ass billboards to tell you 20 to 25 years for a gun crime. You know what I'm saying? And the Marissa Alexander case is the number one way that you can know that, because if you know the Marissa Alexander case, this is the case where she fired a warning shot at her husband, and they got into a domestic dispute, and the lawyers and the prosecutors were threatening to give her 20 to 25 years just for discharging the firearm. Didn't hit nobody, But here you have Zimmerman gets off with Trayvon. He discharged the firearm, so he was at least supposed to get 20 years, right? If they were trying. Do you see? So this is the complete thing that's going on with black people in the American law. And the Jordan Davis case is the worst case in there. That's the worst, because there were 5 people in the car. Listen to the verdict. Okay, see, this shows you that we are zombies now. We are zombies, and we're clones, and we slaves now. All we do is go work. That's a slave. You know what I'm saying? And because the Jordan Davis case shows you, if you listen to the verdict, there were 5 people in the car. And there was 4 attempted murders. If you listen to the verdict, there were 4 attempted murders, and there was no guilty verdict for the obvious murder of this child. There was no guilty verdict for the obvious murder of Jordan Davis. So they're showing you by American law that a black life means absolutely nothing, and they have completely updated the Dred Scott decision now. You understand me? And it has totally permitted slavery all through the country, So, all of the myths that they have fed us, man, that's exactly what I'm talking about, man. It's so much more. It's so much more, man. Like the Civil War myth, all of it, man. All the shit just a big old myth, man. We ain't get no laws until the 13th Amendment. We ain't get no rights till the 13th Amendment. Just real shit, man. You got 12 amendments before the 13th Amendment. The whole Bill of Rights, and don't none of them belong to us. And the 13th Amendment just, redefined slavery. It just, made slavery the jail system. Man, crazy, man. This your boy Prophet Williams, man. I just wanted to hit y'all with no final thoughts. It's way more. But that's 400 degrees right there, man. You know how we can do. God bless. I'll let your boy. Chill.